We come to the second of our series, Inheritance. Melanie Butler visits a Benedictine monastery in Sri Lanka and discovers an English gentleman's house. With the help of those who knew him, she tells the story of the house and the man and women who lived there. Adisham.
Haputale, Sri Lanka. Altitude 4,000 feet. Evening.
Excuse me, can you tell me the way to Adisham?
Adisham?
Yes. This road?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, it's up and downhill, about 2 miles. Road not very wide, and the last bit was all jungle.
Excuse me, can you tell me the way to Adisham?
Huh?
Can you tell me the way to Adisham?
Adisham?
Adisham. Yes. This way. Thank you.
There are no gardens each side at the end of the jungle road, all planted with beautiful cannas in different colours. Oh, the house was magnificent. It hit you.
It was so different to anything we'd seen, completely different. It was bigger and better, of course, in every way, grander, and to my mind, rather chilling.
My father, I think, his recollection was it permanently in a cloud. You know, it took an awful long time for the sun to sort of burn the mist away. It was a remarkable place.
It was so solid. It was a mansion. It was almost an English mansion transferred from England to Ceylon. An English gentleman's house.
Villers, Sir Thomas Lister, also known as TV. Born Adisham, Kent, 1869. Son of Henry Villers, Prebendary. Grandson of Lord John Russell, Prime Minister. Arrived in Ceylon 1887, aged 16, with £10 in his pocket.
He went out there with nothing at all. I mean, he made it.
Tea planter, merchant, politician. Built house at Haputale, 1928 to 1930. 22 years later, at the age of 82, sold house with all contents. Returned to England.
That you turn back Jordan on your course, mountains that you led like rams, hills like yelling sheep, travel on before the Lord, in the presence of the God of Jacob, who turns the rock into a pool.
Before this was made a monastery, it was called Adisham Hall. Now it is known as Benedict's Monastery, Adisham, Haputale.
If you looked over the wall, there was this vista, wasn't there?
On a clear day, the sightseer, could have a view of the various mountain ranges. On that side is the third highest peak, Totapolakanda, in Sri Lanka. Then the Sleeping Warrior Range, which is in front here. Come this way.
I was there before it was built. And then, of course, the cutting of the site, and of course we go up there practically every day to see how they were getting on. Well, it's just like a jungle. We had to walk. And it took about 2 years to build.
As you went in the hall, there was a small cloakroom on the left-hand side where the flowers were done.
This, you see, was originally what they called a cloakroom.
Put the light on.
Yes, put on.
It's wonderful. Was this here? This is silk, is it?
This is watered silk. The paper here is the original paper there. And of course, like here's the linen cupboard, the wash basin and the toilet. Most of the fittings are original, including this too, the toilet.
The toilet.
All those walls were the most beautiful wallpaper that was put in. Beautiful stuff sent from England, of course. Beautiful stuff.
Then you went further into another door. On the right was TV's office.
It was all like a room in a club, you know? These big leather chairs. Boy bringing in an odd drink. Did you see the fireplace with all the little elephants and things like that? It was built by masons he had sent from southern India, special carving masons.
Then these fireplaces were built by Indian masons because the elephants on it look Indian. Inside, we have not done any alteration. It is there as it is. This is the original parlor which was used by Villiers. The furniture also were used by him. And that's the picture of the owner who built this place.
He was tall, slightly stooped, white hair, featured a little aquiline, very well spoken, never sloppy, ever.
He was a very strong man. I mean, always stood up as if, like a guardsman, strode around the place. Very gentle. He had a very quiet, gentle voice. He has a sort of mountain of a man.
Author of 3 books on Ceylon: Club, Oriental, Recreations, Bridge, Philately, Reading.
And now you see the library of Sir Villiers. The books are here. They have been described as very valuable, all these books. Social and Diplomatic Memories, 1894 to 1901, Sir J. Rennell Rodd. Impressions and Memories, Lord Ribblesdale. Ribblesdale.
He was a very sound politician. He had a great sympathy for the labourer, the state labourer. He was a state councillor. Then when they had a parliament, he became a MP. Of course, that's how he was knighted, for what he did for the country, because he did a terrific lot for them.
Member of Legislature 1924 to 1932. Supported free compulsory education, minimum wage, adult franchise, independence for Ceylon.
A most religious man, too. He very seldom missed a Sunday from going to church.
I make your saving help, O Lord.
They had this big Daimler car.
A huge, big yellow Daimler. Yes, a yellow Daimler. Huge thing. Why he bought a yellow one, I can't tell you, but yellow it was.
A kind of a beige colour. It wasn't the right kind of a car for out there. It was too big, I think. But it was a beautiful car. Oh, of course, the heat used to get it. The heat going up that pass up to Haputale. What a terrific climb that was. And it didn't like that, so I had a new fan put in, a larger side fan. And that seemed to have done the trick. It was all right after that.
He had a European chauffeur.
Chauffeur. Completely exceptional. Even the governor didn't got a European chauffeur. He came out to be chauffeur to TV, I suppose about 1928 or thereabouts. It was a bit tricky because, you see, where did the chauffeur live? And he was a European. You couldn't put him in with the local inhabitants.
I lived at the house. They had a flat above the garage. I used to live there. Oh, it was quite a nice place.
How many garages were there?
4. Rather special for Ceylon because they were specially made sliding doors and things like that, which nothing like that was happening in Ceylon.
Yeah, it's here. Push doors firmly and steadily. Do not bang doors against. Stop. Keep track channel oiled.
E. Hill Adam and Company Limited. The sliding door people, 93 Stamford Street, London, SE1.
And did you see the staircase?
A wide staircase.
Yes, the wide staircase. There were 2 sides to it. And going up the stairs, there was pictures of his
ancestors.
Russells, and I've forgotten who the other was. In Carrington, yes.
This is the engraving of the trial of William Lord Russell. You see his relations with the Russell family. So this is the very most important of all this collection here. This is the original.
First wife, Evelyn Hope Villers, daughter of William Higgin Walker, tea planter of Ceylon.
Our bedroom was in the front of the house, looking down over into the valley, right into the beyond, and it was most beautifully laid out.
Her dressing table was a big oval dining room table, and it was covered with tortoiseshell pieces. Covered. Tiny bits, big pieces, everything you could think of.
A very reserved lady. Didn't get far with her. As a junior in the office anyway, I can assure you. You know, we all had to call on the lady wives in the firm. It's a matter of duty. And to go and call on Lady Villers is quite an ordeal. She wasn't very forthcoming.
She dressed very nicely. She had very small feet, and she loved shoes, and she had lots and lots of shoes. What else can I say?
Was she friendly?
Well, we don't know about that. She was friendly to her people she liked. But she was a very artistic woman. And I say she did quite a lot of painting. And of course, her love was for most of the garden.
This is a dry stone wall. It's not stuck together, it's just dry stone. These are little seats when you get tired.
This was also a garden at that time, full of anthuriums. Anthurium garden.
The sort of
There is a path right round, go right round thing, but now it's like jungle. And plenty of leeches.
We imported quite a number of roses. Beautiful roses, hundreds of roses.
Dark beauty, fragrant cloud, golden jubilee, blue moon, white masterpiece, amazing grace.
(1938) Death of Lady Evelyn Villers during return voyage from England. Buried at sea.
She died, I think it was just before we got to Port Said. And I was actually with her when she died, in the cabin with her. She just seemed to go to sleep and die.
I thought she had cancer.
I don't know, dear.
I don't know.
It was never said cancer. It was a long, long name.
Uh-huh.
I arrived back on Christmas Day.
Yes. He did think the world of her.
He came to Colombo as well, didn't
Yes,
he?
yes. But he say he was very, very much in love with her. So that.
First we tried marmalade, then that caught up. Then they started planting strawberry because one agriculturist suggested this ideal place for strawberry.
And you had some strawberries from Sir Thomas. I think there were some.
There were a few. In fact, these plants are from there, which was here. And that is the best for the jam.
Really?
Yes.
But this is what you're famous from. If you say Adisham in Sri Lanka,
That's
they
right.
say strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam. That's right. I can show you where we keep the jam. We keep our jams here. This was the kitchen. The stove was kept here. The stove was kept here, and this was used as the kitchen.
How many pots of jam?
Must be having about 2,700 bottles of marmalade and over 600 bottles of guava jelly.
1942. Sir Thomas Villers suffers illness. Nursed at Haputale General Hospital.
Well, she was of a very good burgher family, which we call burghers because they were Eurasians. Burghers. And, of course, she used to come and visit them. You know, some afternoons and things like that. Marjorie, I think her name was. She's a very nice girl.
Nickname Cuckoo. I mean, she was always known as Cuckoo. I suppose, in a way, it was rather belittling.
Cuckoo was a relation of mine. Her grandfather and my grandfather were brothers. Cuckoo was a nurse, and she was nursing up at Haputale. And Sir Thomas was ill, and he was taken in there. And Cuckoo nursed him. Then she went to Adisham, and she was looking after him. And then they grew closer and closer.
She was accepted. She used to go with them. They were great bridge players. They went out and played bridge together.
But it was very awkward because he belonged to a club called the Bow Club, which was very European. And they used to drive there, and Sir Thomas used to get out and go to the club while Cuckoo sat outside in the car waiting. She couldn't go in. They wouldn't allow her in.
Why not?
Because she was a Ceylonese. No Ceylonese were allowed to join.
And she wasn't accepted in the European community?
No, unfortunately.
Was it because she wasn't married to him, or was it because she wasn't European?
No, I think it's because she wasn't European. It was the wives, you know, who were the snobs.
She was a burgher, Keat, Marjorie Keat. She wouldn't have the same status in the eyes of the general public as had she been a European.
It does seem extraordinary to me that there was Sir Thomas, a very proper man, I think, was giving money to the church. He was a member of the legislative council. Seemed to be a very proper and Victorian sort of person. Suddenly falling in love with his nurse. It does seem to me out of character.
If you knew her, Cuckoo was such an affectionate sort of person. I can see her, you know, suddenly dashing to him and cuddling him and giving him a little kiss and just saying how much she loved him and so on. Which, you know, as you grow older, you appreciate, and it eats into you to have somebody care for you. And she was genuine. And I think she was genuinely fond of him.
1953. Second marriage, aged 83, to Marjorie Keat.
I think he thought it was the best thing to do. And I don't think it pleased the family. I wouldn't think so. I mustn't say that, though.
Oh, me, oh, my. You know, in those days, of course, I mean, grandfather always promised my parents that, you know, that it was never in his mind ever to marry Miss Keats.
We all were astonished in the office when we heard this was what happened. Because he was a bit of a aristocrat, if you like to use the word.
What would he have done? He didn't have anybody to look after.
She was very, very good to him.
Oh, yes,
and
she was.
I don't think he could live without her. Because he was so lonely.
For sale, Adisham Hall, Haputale, Ceylon. Price to include all fittings, furniture, and personal effects.
And I think she must have engineered the departure. She was Lady Villers, you see.
Lady Villers in London, and she certainly was Lady Villers.
She'd walk into Harrods and say, "This is Lady Villers." She'd get away with it. Hence, Ceylon, everybody knew who she was.
She was.
The London Times, December 1959. Sir Thomas Lister Villiers died on Monday the 21st at the age of 90.
He was cremated. Yes, he was cremated indeed. That was quite a day. Yes, sad day, very sad day.
And she didn't live very long afterwards. She died about 2 years after he died.
She had one particular friend. They had dinner that night, and they had quite a bit to drink, I believe, at dinner, after dinner. And when they got to bed, I don't think Cuckoo was still satisfied. She thought she'd get something more. So she went out into the larder, to the kitchen, I believe, where all the drink was stacked up on a shelf. And she got a chair, and she stood on the chair, and she was trying to reach for this bottle of champagne when it slipped, because it fell on her head. And then so she slipped, and she fell. And the bottle actually broke on her head. And she died like that, hitting a bottle of champagne.
For his love endures forever. To the God of heaven give thanks. For his love endures forever. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Taking part in Adisham were Bill and Doris Morrison, Alec and Betty MacLeod, Stephen Villers, and Nestor Breuer. The tour of the house and its garden was conducted by members of the community at St. Benedict's Monastery, Adisham, Sri Lanka. The programme was compiled and presented by Melanie Butler, and the producer was Nigel Atchison.